Hello and welcome to this Business Solutions Podcast. I'm Jim Roddy, the President of Jameson Publishing and Business Solutions Magazine. Thanks for joining us. As always, we're here to provide actionable information on how VARs can sell more products, penetrate thriving vertical markets, and improve their business operations. Our discussion topic for this podcast is Ingram's message to VARs, focus on the total solution. And our guest today to help give us an inside perspective is Brian Weiser. He's the Senior Vice President of the Specialty Solutions Division at Ingram Micro. Brian, nice to talk to you. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Jim. Appreciate it.
We're conducting this podcast interview at the Ingram Micro Solutions Summit just outside of New York City, where much of the focus has been on resellers adding adjacent technologies. We had a panel discussion yesterday about that, about becoming a total solution provider. So, Brian, why was that the theme, not just of that panel, for really this event, these couple days?
Yeah, great question, Jim. Thanks. So, a couple of things. One is, as always in this business, what's exciting about it is technology is moving incredibly fast, and end-user requirements and business needs are moving fast along with that. And so what we found that if our reseller partners kind of sit still and focus on one area, it's great to have that focus to help build a niche, but on the other hand, we find that they can be disintermediated or really in some ways leave money on the table if they're not willing to look at the total solution and the total business needs of their end user and what they're trying to accomplish. And we believe that the more that those resellers understand the total opportunity, the more they can take advantage of that and really be that trusted advisor and that true business partner to their end client.
Got it. And selling the total solutions, initially it could sound daunting, or, oh my gosh, how do I make the leap, not just to the adjacent technology, but keep going on and on? How do you see the varying technologies, converging in part and then complementing each other going forward?
Sure. Well, for example, at this event, we have disparate technologies, but we see them coming together, and we see our reseller partners starting to put solutions together around these technologies. So whether it's physical security matching up with, not just on the video surveillance side, but on the digital signage side. So there are multiple ways that these technologies are starting to converge, and when our partners are going in to put applications into an end client, sometimes they're being asked to address that solution as well. So I'd like a signage solution, but also while you're at it, I'm trying to address security concerns. And there's no need that should have to necessarily be four separate partners that subcontract out on that deal. The technologies, while they can be disparate, are often similar enough. And there's organizations like Ingram that can help people pull those together and present a more complete solution.
Yeah, it was interesting. This morning I got to be in a tech breakfast about physical security, and so we have at this event, the September issue, Business Solutions has a partner of Axis, who's one of your partners as well, talking about how they sold VoIP to people, and now they're going back and selling physical security. And one of the VARs in attendance at the tech breakout was saying, well, we sold VoIP to school districts, and now we're going back in and selling physical security because it's all part of the network. Is that kind of what ties all this together, is really that network?
It is, actually. We had a great testimonial from a partner about a year and a half ago who was in a very different business, went to, almost by accident, one of our seminars on video surveillance. Within 6 to 9 months, he had developed a practice enough to supply existing clients with it, and within about a year and a half later, that was his second lead after his initial business, and he has a pretty robust practice now. So I don't mean to make it sound too simple, because there's a lot of work involved and investment required on the reseller's part. But again, there are a lot of areas, a lot of places you can get help to really do that.
Yeah, this is the first time the VAR actually said it was an easy sale, and I thought that's the first time I've ever heard somebody who actually sells something use the phrase easy sale.
And I think where they have the advantage, and I alluded to it earlier, if they really understand their clients' needs and the business of their end user, they are, again, that trusted advisor. We talk about this a lot, where they're the brand. They need to build themselves as the brand to that end client. If they do that successfully, and they're looked at in the right way, then they can really address multiple technology needs of that partner without having to have them go other places for it.
Yeah, and one of the comments that came up yesterday, and another kind of a sub-theme to providing the total solution, is you don't have to go it alone. And so I wanted to ask you if you could share with our audience some information on partnering. If you really know your end user, but you don't know the technology, you can partner with another reseller who's not a competitor.
It's a great point, and this is a an easy way to kind of get in fast. Meaning, if you don't have the practice built out in a given technology, you realize that your investment curve might take too long, or you don't have the capital right now. There are multiple partner networks out there, Ingram and others, where we can have a trusted relationship where we can find and connect you with a partner in that geography that can deliver that specific technology as a subject matter expert on your behalf. And we have systems and processes in place where that's done, again, in a trusted fashion, where there's no poaching. And actually, what's great is we've seen people build these partnerships and build an ecosystem where, in a given geography, if they're not into high-end storage and virtualization, okay, we found a partner for them that is. And so they can focus on these 2 or 3 things until they decide if they want to build a practice in that, bring somebody in almost as a sub, and really address, the total needs of that client. And again, we have very strong systems in place through things like Venture Tech Network, Ingram Microservice Network, SMB Alliance, GovEd Alliance, multiple ways they can do that in a trusted fashion.
Got it. Good. So that's partnering. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about that ties in with the total solution, everywhere we turn to BSM, VARs are talking about managed services or SaaS, software as a service, and their impact on the channel. I want to get your take on where do you see the impact going to be over the next 12 to 18 months with managed services and SaaS? Okay, yeah. And Ingram was really kind of a leader, I think, from a distribution standpoint in putting the managed services practice together. We built it off of the Ingram Microservice Network. And we just saw the incredible opportunities created by managed services. And again, I think that even more than anything accentuates the point I made earlier around that reseller partner becoming the brand. Because if they can go to that end partner and be perceived as really trying to address a business solution, it's not about selling the hardware. It's not about, it's about I can meet your needs and I can do it in an off-premise environment. It doesn't have to be, it can be in a fee-for-service. You can own the hardware, I can own the hardware, or Ingram Micro can own the hardware, whatever. But there's multiple ways to do that really offloads costs in the channel and really streamlines efficiency for everybody. And we see that now adapting to the cloud as well. And we have a cloud service offering that is second to none that really provides that kind of white label offering for our resellers to the end client, a range of full cloud applications and services that they can then go provide to their end user, and really, again, save time, save costs, and provide a broader number of applications out to the end clients. And we are seeing people embrace that. We're seeing adoption very quickly. I think people have overcome security concerns, and I think people have overcome that emotional tie to, well, if I don't own it, how does it work? Right. I think people are finally starting to understand that it's about technology helping my business. How that gets delivered to me is maybe less relevant. And there also is one more point that's critical. I think a lot of resellers felt like if they go to an MSP environment or a cloud environment, do they become less relevant? Absolutely not. Again, if they're the true trusted advisor, they're providing that business solution. We found that not only are they more relevant, but often they get more hardware business in tow. Yeah. Because their end client is not interested in buying another procure server. It's, hey, you guys take care of that for me. You want to keep me up and running. You tell me when I need a server. You tell me when I need hardware. They tend to often increase their hardware sales at higher margins because it's not about a procurement or project process. Right. And it kind of ties in with what you said earlier about this is just another adaptation that resellers need to take. It's not something that, someone else is going to become an MSP or provide services. You better, or someone else is going to jump in and do that for you. Exactly. And in some ways, it allows the reseller to focus on what their true value, which is providing technical expertise and helping their end clients succeed in business. And this process in some ways streamlines that, makes it more efficient, allows them to focus more on doing that as opposed to, let's say, a hardware procurement process, or which package do I pick, or how do I partner with the right person. So we can help them throughout that whole thing. And we've also been working very hard with our vendor partners to help them understand that the channel is still incredibly relevant, if not more relevant, in the cloud or a managed services environment. And it doesn't imply that the vendor can go right to the end user. There's still an integration point. The VARs, more important than ever to help pull all these technologies together and to make it work. And users understand that. The VARs get that. We get that. And I think most vendors are starting to get that. Yeah, expertise is always necessary, no matter how the system changes. Sure. Brian, last question for you. We have about a minute left. What 1 or 2 actions would you recommend a reseller take over the next 6 months that would have the biggest impact on their business? Okay, it's a great question. I think, and hopefully they're doing this, but make sure they're truly understanding the strategic plans of their end customers, where their customers are trying to take their business. Then step back and do kind of a technology roadmap of what are all the things from a technology perspective that end client needs to succeed to hit their 2-year, 3-year, 5-year plan. And how can I help them do that? And then assess, do I have the capability to do that? Do I need to partner? Do I need to outsource some of that capability? Where do I place my bets, knowing that there are limited resources you have? But again, use the people around you. Use distribution, use Ingram Micro, use the other partners
to really help you succeed and provide that total solution to the client.
Got it. Good advice. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully our discussion has given you some insight into how you can really become a total solution provider. Before we go, I want to say thanks again to Brian Weiser from Ingram for joining us today. Brian, always a pleasure to talk with you.
Great. Thanks for having me, Jim.
And thanks to you so much for listening. Our goal at Business Solutions is to provide growth strategies for the IT channel. For more information, please visit our website at www.bsminfo.com. Thanks again for listening, everybody.